So the first month of the new year has just passed, and that can only mean one thing. Yes, it's time for another monthly update where I share transparently all the money I received in forms of dividends, interest income, and cashback. Now, I just want to make it very clear here. This is not to show off or anything. For some people, this might seem like a lot of money. For other people, this might look like peanuts, right? So like with anything, investing in money is really a relative thing, right? It always depends with whom you compare yourself to, but that's exactly the problem. Don't compare yourself to anyone but yourself, right? And make sure you are getting better and stronger and wealthier over time. If I compare myself to so many successful people right now, I'm in Dubai, I should feel like the biggest loser, right? But of course, if we look to some poorer countries, all of us would feel extremely wealthy. Just focus on yourself and make sure you track your growth and progress over time. And if you're not doing this yet, then I have a great net worth tracker that I fill out and complete every single month. You can find the link in the description below. Just download it to your own files and start completing it every single month with all your income, your expenses, and your assets, all your bank's investments, and then you have a total net worth figure, which hopefully will start pointing up in the long term. With this out of the way, let's get started. Right, so let's start off with my dividends that I received in the month of January. For that, of course, I'm using my dividend tracking tool of choice, which is GetQuinn, which is an amazing platform that basically integrates all my various brokers, even my cryptocurrency, and gives me one dashboard that I can see all my total net worth, so to say, and all my holdings in one, rather than having to log into all the different apps. So really great tool. If you sign up to them with my link below, you can also follow my portfolio and see all my various holdings there. So let's start off with the dividends in total. First off, I'm really happy when I go to all time over here, you can really see the development of my dividend income over time, which I'm really happy. Every month I see that number going up, and that's so motivating to see, right? Back in 21, I made $15. Then I went to $152 in 22. In 23, it went up quite a bit to $553. Now, just recently I crossed 1,000, and now I'm already at $1,300 of dividend income for the year of 2024. So you really start seeing that snowball effect taking place. But once again, these are still, in my eyes, tiny numbers. I will continue to invest to grow that number up to make sure it will go even higher. As I always say, my goal is eventually to have a six-figure annual dividend income. Obviously, that might take many, many more years, but I know I will get there if I stick with it. But yeah, you can see definitely it takes time, but with patience and consistency, it will really start paying off. So if I go then into January to see who paid me, that's very simple. All I have to do is here, 24, select that, and then I can click on January. And you see here, I got a total of $98 in January. Now, first off, actually, recently, I've shown all these numbers in euros. And that's very easy to change the currency. You can change it to pretty much most common currencies. But in my case, as I mostly invest in US stocks with US dollars, in my case, it actually makes more sense to have it shown to me in US dollars. Because previously, I had it in euros. And it's great to see because I mostly transact in euros. But at the same time, it's sometimes misleading because when I looked at the number I've shown you over here, I, for example, some days had 1,200 euros. Then I bought some stocks. So normally I was excited to log in again and see the number going up. But then, for example, next day, the number actually went down because the exchange rate between euros and dollar, would have been unfavorable in my case. So in that way, I take out the exchange risk. So I think it really makes sense for you to choose the currency where you invested in most. If most of your holdings are in euros, then definitely stick with euros because you will have less of a foreign exchange fluctuation over there. In my case, I'm mostly invested in the US dollars. The only euro holding right now I have is my S&P 500 ETF, but the rest is all dollar based. So in my case, it actually makes more sense to have it shown to me in dollars so I can look at the results without the exchange rate fluctuations. So coming back to January, you can see here I had 5 companies paying me a dividend in January. So not that many, but let's start off. Of course, as always, Realty Income, my favorite real estate investment trust. They pay me every single month a dividend, and it's getting more and more. Obviously, the more I invest in it, it used to be, a couple of dollars. Now it's already starting to be a little bit higher. I mean, $20, not too bad. At least pays for a couple of my coffees in a month. Still, obviously, I want to build that position up. Right now, they have been on a deep dive as many other REITs because, still interest rates are so expensive in the US and around the world. So it's very difficult for those REITs to grow and buy new properties. Same for us investors, right? If we want to buy a new house now, the interest rates are so expensive. That's why the growth for those companies is slower, and obviously that's why the stock price comes down. But in my eyes, as a long-term investor, I think it's a great opportunity to buy more of the stock, and I will definitely do so. Next up, we have Altria, a company I talked a lot about. Obviously, a little bit controversial maybe because it's a tobacco and smoking company, so not everybody might feel comfortable investing in them. But then again, just keep in mind, if you invest into S&P 500, right, which I always advocate, and a lot of people put their money there, on most global ETFs, most likely chances are, well, at least in the S&P 500, that you will also be owning Altria. So some people say, I don't like to invest in a company, but actually if you invest in the S&P 500, you will own them because they're actually quite a big US company in the top 100. I don't know the exact position, but quite a big company, and they will definitely be in the S&P 500. So anyways, I feel comfortable investing in them. They pay me a very high dividend, actually the highest dividend percentage right now, close to 10%. In the month of January, you can see that was actually my biggest dividend payer of $42. I mean, that's really nice. Of course, that's not coming every month. They pay on a quarterly basis. But yeah, I mean, that's quite a significant number, which I quite appreciate and enjoy having. Next up, we have Pepsi, one of the dividend kings. They've been paying and growing the dividends for over 50 years. So really a very, very strong company. Obviously, the dividend yield is a little bit lower, just around 3%. It used to be even less than 3%. So Pepsi also pays me on a quarterly basis. And you can see here, I got $7. Again, I only have a small position in Pepsi for now. I definitely want to increase that position in the future. But right now, even with a small holding, I'll happily take it. Obviously, it's not life-changing money, but why not? And I know with my money invested into Pepsi, it's fairly safe. It's not a company I expect to grow massively in the next few years, but I know it's going to be slow, steady growth over time. Same with Coca-Cola. They didn't pay me in January, but I have a position in Coca-Cola as well. It's very similar to Pepsi in many ways. And I know my money is going to be safe there, right? It's almost like leaving it at the bank. I mean, they're not going to disappear. I mean, it will be highly unlikely for them to completely collapse. So I know my money is safe while still growing a little bit in terms of share price. And at the same time, I get a bit of dividend income. So nothing to lose over there, really. Then we have the second REIT, real estate investment trust, that I really like, and that's called Vici. That's basically the company behind most of the nice real estate that we all know from Las Vegas. And honestly, if you ask me, I don't think gambling is going to go anywhere. If anything, if times got worse, probably people might gamble even more in the future. You never know. I wouldn't put all my eggs into Vici, but I'm really bullish on them long term. I really think they have some more growth potential. And you can see they also paid me a very nice dividend of $26. They pay out on a quarterly basis. That's the second REIT that I have. In total, I own 3 real estate companies. So it's Realty Income, Vici, and Agree Realty. Agree Realty, as you can see over here, they will pay me actually in the month of February. So yeah, that's nice to see. And lastly, I have Nike, but actually I sold out of Nike already. I never really had a position. That was just from one of the free stocks I got. So whenever any one of you signs up to any of the brokers that I recommend, it's basically a win-win. You get a free share, I get a free share. And usually I right away sell the shares that I get, because usually it's some random share that I don't want, and then obviously trade them up into some other shares that I really want to have in my portfolio, right? But sometimes it can be that, you didn't manage to sell them right away and then they happen to pay you a dividend, which, why not? I'll take it. Now looking ahead, February looks to be my lowest month of the whole year, but then you see March might be one of my highest income months so far. But don't forget, I keep on investing. So obviously all those numbers further down the year will definitely continue to increase, because the more stocks I buy, the higher the dividend income will be. Right, with this, let's move to the interest income that I got in the month of January. Now let's kick things off, starting with the highest amount of interest income that I got for last month, and that's actually from Trade Republic. Now, arguably I also have the highest amount over there because they have the highest protection level. They protect your money up to 100,000 euros and pay interest up to 50,000. And you can see here, last month I got 223 euros. I mean, that's quite a sizable income just by keeping my money with them safely, I have to say. And that's really nice to see. Now, they used to have 4%. Honestly, I don't know why it's now 4.8% since January. You can see over here, until December 31st, it used to be 4%. Now they bumped me up to 4.8%. Honestly, I don't know. They didn't even send me an email about this, so I was pleasantly surprised. But wow, guys, I mean, I'll take it happily. So I'm not sure why that is. They haven't really communicated that much, but yeah, very nice. I'm happy with this. And you see, obviously, I got this money, and it's a little bit more than usual because last month in December, they only paid me until the 28th of December. So obviously, they missed a few days because they finished probably their accounting year early or what have you. So they added those few days with my January payment. So yeah, that's why 223 euros is the highest I ever received. And honestly, for doing nothing, just keeping my money there, I mean, that's really nice. So honestly, if you're not using Trade Republic yet, then use my link in the description below. Both you and I will get a free bonus share. It's a win-win scenario. It's fully protected. They're a German licensed bank, and you can withdraw your money anytime. There's no lockup period, and they won't charge you for withdrawals. There isn't really anything not to like about this, and honestly, I'm super happy with them. I'll continue to leave my money here for sure. Next up, we move to Trading 212, which in recent times is really starting to become one of my favorite apps actually. I used to not use them so much, only to keep my money, but in the past the interest was very little, around 1.6%. And also in terms of keeping my stocks, I didn't really enjoy it. I used interactive brokers, which I still use, but now they recently added the ability to transfer your stocks to another broker if you wanted to in the future. And I really liked it, so you're not locked in. I always value flexibility, right? Same in being able to withdraw my money when I want. I also want to maybe transfer my shares if I want to. So I never want to be locked into one ecosystem, and Trading 212 really has done some amazing changes in recent times. They have commission-free trading, and yeah, the whole interface and app looks really sleek. but of course also the interest. So you can see last month I only got 33 euros, even though the interest is very high at 4.2%. But having said that, at the same time, I only started shifting my money halfway through the month. So I didn't have it since the beginning of the month, because I believe they only started increasing that higher interest rates sometime during the month of January. Before, I didn't have any money on trading 2-on-2 because the interest, as I said, was 1.6%. But now that they bumped it up to 4.2%, I think it's very attractive. You can see right now I get daily interest of 2.2, so times 30 days, I should be getting around 60, 65 euros per month. Of course, if I wanted to keep some dollars, that would be even higher. You can see 5.1%. For example, if you have pounds, you can also keep it. You'll be getting 5% interest on your money. Now, again, that's per year, right? And the cool thing is it's paid to you on a daily basis. If I go to payments over here, you can see every single day that amount is being added into my cash holdings. So that's really cool. You can see also I have a bit of dollars. So on all your various currencies, if you have multiple currencies, you'll get multiple interest per day as well. So that's really rewarding to see that on a daily basis, of course. So yeah, honestly, really not too shabby. It is protected up to 20,000 euros. So I'm really comfortable with this, but I wouldn't necessarily want to go way above that limit. So that's why I really think it's good to diversify, have different brokers, because you never know what happens, right? Obviously, a lot of them are protected, and I always try to stay below that protection limit. Better safe than sorry. Then we move to another one of my favorite brokers, which is called Lightyear. And Lightyear is also an amazing stockbroker that allows you to buy ETFs commission free. So if you want to buy S&P 500 ETF, for example, like I do, the VUSA, you can do this completely commission free over here, which is amazing. And otherwise, they also pay you a nice interest without any lockup period. You can see the various amounts you'll be getting. On my euros right now, I get 3.25%. On my dollars, 4.5%. And pounds, if I had any, 4.5 as well. So I'll pop into this over here. You can see in total already I got 473 euros from them. And you can see also, just to confirm, they are also protecting your money up to 20,000 euros. So that's reassuring to know. And obviously you can see for the month of January, I got 56 euros paid to me from them. So that's really nice to have. Yes, the interest may not be that high. And at the same time, I know it's safe with them. And as I said, I don't want to put that money, let's say, into another broker above the threshold of protection, because then it might be at risk, right? So I'd rather sacrifice a little bit on the percentage over there, but know that my money is safe and I still get money in return in the form of interest income. So what's not to love about that? And if you want to sign up to Light, you have a code down in the description below called Kai10. If you pop that in, you'll get a free share worth up to $10. So why not? And lastly, we move to Revolut, where I also get some nice interest income. So first off, I have my dollar accounts over here and the saving account. And you can see right now I'm getting 5.37% on my dollars. So that's really very high. And obviously I keep some dollars because I use those dollars to then send to my Interactive Brokers account, as I buy most of my stocks in dollars. So basically I just hold them here. I exchange my euros into dollars through Revolut, where there's no fee for it. And then I can just send them fee-free to Interactive Brokers to invest them. In the future, I will also use those dollars to send to trading 2-on-2, because they have a small currency exchange fee, which I don't want to pay actually. So in this way, once again, using Revolut, I can exchange the dollars free of charge. And this way I avoid paying any kind of currency conversion fee. So that's a good way. At the same time, while I park my dollars over here, I get some juicy interest income. As you can see, every single day I'm being paid some money. Of course, right now the amount is not that high, but still, you can see all-time earnings, $114 that I made so far. And for the total month in terms of interest income, $18. So again, not that much, but still better than nothing just for parking my money over there with Revolut. Then we come to my euro holdings with Revolut, and that's obviously a higher amount, even though interest is a little bit lower at 3.96. Still quite nice actually. And yeah, you can see right now I'm getting 2.88 euros every single day. So that really is not too bad. In total, I got from Revolut over 247 euros. And again, I only started with them recently, so that's quite nice. So in total, you can see here, last month I earned from Revolut 70 euros. So if you start adding it all up, really not too bad, just by keeping my money there, which I know it's safe, and at the same time I get money. So I always like to have money working for me rather than against me. If you take a big loan or a mortgage, obviously the money works against you, right? Because you pay a high interest. If you have cash sitting around, you benefit from it in the form of getting interest. So that's a smart money move, definitely. And lastly, we come to the cashback that I got in the month of January. Now for cashback, sadly in Europe, we don't have too many crazy offers like they have in the US and other parts of the world. We have very limited opportunities for that. And actually what I use is Revolut once again. I'm on the Ultra plan. And on the Ultra plan, I can use my Revolut Pro card, for which I get 1.2% cashback on every single transaction. So that's really nice. And honestly, it starts adding up over time. And you'll see in a second, that was actually the highest ever amount that I made in 1 month just from cashback. And 1.2% may not sound that much, but obviously it always depends on how much you spend, right? So I wouldn't really call it passive income, because obviously you spend it to get it. But at the same time, if I wouldn't use my card, I wouldn't get that money in the first place. So I still think it's a smart move to have it and benefit from your spendings, especially if you're using your card for business expenses, right? right? Which it is actually intended to use for. So if, for example, you're having a marketing agency and you're running your clients' ads through your card, why don't you use your Revolut card? And that way you start getting cashback for it. Or you're doing the bookings for people in your company, why don't you use your card and then people reimburse you, but you in the process keep the cashback, right? So there are many ways how you can benefit from it, even if your own monthly expenses might be a little bit lower. So you can see here in total what I ever got in cashback from Revolut was over 661 euros, so really not too shabby. And if I go into this last month, you will see here I actually got 129 euros in cashback. Now, I'll let you do the math on how much I spent in that month. Obviously, it's a very expensive month. We've been in Dubai, plus I've been setting up the company here. We just bought an apartment, so there's some works going on. So yeah, a lot of expenses going on, definitely. That's not the norm, luckily, but you can still see here every other month around 45, 50 euros. And that's actually more than I pay for my Revolut card. So just by cashback, I pay the cost of my Revolut Ultra plan, and anything on top, like the free airport lounge access, all the nice benefits that I get, such as Financial Times, NordVPN, all of that comes free of charge. And yeah, for me, it's definitely worth it. And in Europe, probably one of the best options. I don't know too many other cards that offer you a 1.2% cashback in money. A lot of the programs give you points. They're always expired and are not applicable, or certain terms and conditions that I don't meet. So in this way, I like to have it. It's paid to me on the first of every month, cashback, and boom, I can use that money and do whatever I want with it. So I really like that. So there you have it. A really good month for me. If I add it all up, that's actually over 600 euros that I got from the various forms of income. So really not too shabby. Of course, it's still not enough to pay for my living expenses. For that, of course, I have other forms of income, but you can always see when you go back to some of my earlier videos, the amount was much smaller that I got. And hopefully, if I keep on doing these videos in 2, 3, 4 years from now, that amount will be significantly higher, right? And that's what I like about documenting my own journey and showing you what is possible if you stick with things, right? For some of you, it might be smaller amounts and it will take longer, but it's totally fine. Over time, you will get there. For others of you watching might be laughing about this amount because you invest, 10,000 a month, and that's totally cool as well, right? Either way, you start seeing compounding. If you do this regularly over time and stay consistent, you will start seeing results. And if you want to learn more how you can use those apps for yourself, I made a deep dive tutorial into Trading 212, which you can check out over here, where you can really make sure you put your money to work for you. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.